Hi, so welcome to this edition, and this is a shorter video of how I actually play options. Of course, I can bore you with all the technical terms about options, but my main intention of this video is many a times I have heard, I have been asked, I have bought this particular option at this particular strike rate or at this particular price. Should I hold it, should I sell it, and what to do? So I think this video is going to give you the way I use options, and definitely it's not something which is very prudent, or which is very efficient in that matter. But for me, as I always say, for me what's more important is to understand of how options in general work. And today is 15th of November, so we are just towards the we are in the mid of the month, and we have an expiry in the next 10 days, this time on 25th of November. So in this video I'm going to talk about the different phases which I go through, and the way I think about how to leverage my portfolio with options, right? So let's get started, so let's start with a story of how I came over here and what happened, and then we are also going to see of how the positions were carried forward, how I had losses, and still I was more confident that I would be able to take everything out in a very positive way. So let's do a quick analysis, right? So the story behind why I actually went forward and took a trade in the options in the first place. The thing was, after the split, I had before the split I had some 200 shares of IRCTC with an average price of between 4,000 4,050, between this price range. It was going really good, and I could have actually booked out everything at 4,100, but going forward, because I remember it closed on about at 4,100 just before the split, and on the day of the split it opened round about at 817, 820. After, on the day it was there was a split, and after that it shot towards the levels of 960, 980, round about that. So that was, of course, we took some intraday trades, and that's all fine. But the thing is, I had 200 shares, so after the split I got some 1,000 shares after the split. And but as we all know that this particular I only had 200 shares which I could play with, and I didn't have the whole 1,000 shares, else I would have totally booked out at the levels of 960. When the price was trading at 960, I tweeted about that I am booking out all my positions. So I just had 200 shares in my account. I totally booked out at 960, and I didn't even have any any doubt on the IRCTC, and I was very confident because my buying average price was between 810 to 815, and it closed round about at 860. So I was sitting in a really good profit. And I was just waiting for then there were this big event of IRCTC result going to come in, and of course the stock moved really good on an intraday basis. On the top of that, I really had no other option, so I didn't have any stocks in my portfolio which I could sell, but they were going to come after 2-3 days, and I was just hoping and praying that once I get it, I am still able to get at least 900, so I can then on an average make 100 rupees per share, which for 800 shares would be 80,000. So I was really looking forward to that profit. But as luck has it, on the next day in the evening, this news of split revenue came in, and as a result of which I then posted a video about IRCTC, because of course then my stakes were very high, because already I had invested near about 8-9 lakhs in IRCTC, and I really didn't want to just let it die out. And of course the news was really bad, and on that night I posted a video, and you will find that video in the upper right hand corner, where I did the technical analysis for IRCTC, and we tried to figure out of and I tried to figure out at what levels IRCTC can at least try to get a support, and going forward what were the levels that I would be monitoring. So one of the things which I actually talked about is the levels of 800, and I said if IRCTC moves above 800 I would be buying. Other than that, I would not be buying any more IRCTC shares for sure. as luck would have it on the next day, so around about at 10:30 in the morning. So this my first trade which came in is 900 call options, started trading around about at 50 and 51. So you can actually open up the charts and you can have a look. So from my perspective, as I said earlier, my whole point was, I wanted to sell all my shares at the levels of 940, 950, because I was holding at a level of 820. So there was a huge 100 rupees, more than 100 rupees, which I was targeting. And after the split, the lot size was 1600, and I only had 800 shares in my demat account, which I didn't have, but I had already bought it, and which was going to come after 2-3 days. And what happened was, I was very confident that if I am able to sell a 900 call at 51 rupees, so I was definitely not expecting the expiry to go above the levels of 950. And to tell you the truth, the movement which came, actually it was stuck in a lot of lower circuits, and then from 670, 650 levels, actually the 650 level was also mentioned in my previous technical video, where I said that I won't be buying at 650, rather I would only be interested in buying when it crosses 800. So what happened is, I was lucky. So around about at 10:30 in the morning, I still remember, it was trading at 50-51, and I actually went ahead and took this particular trade. But as luck has it, there was this news of this revenue sharing getting reverted, and there was a huge buying, so this call option from 50, it went towards the levels of 108, 106, and I was sitting in a loss of more than 1 lakh rupees, right? Now the thing was, the advantage which I had was, I had already sold my 900 call at 50, so definitely I was sort of I was sort of in a good position, in the sense I had cash, and I was very much eager to buy the rest 800, because I already had 800 shares. The rest 825 shares I was very eager to buy at levels of say 880, 850. So it was not a problem for me, and so even when I was sitting at a loss of 1 lakh rupees, it was actually not a problem for me. But going forward, then I actually looked into up in the Twitter of the sudden move, because of course the move which came, it didn't fade away, and there was a huge follow-up move. Of course, this actually signifies that it's not the retailers, but there is some also smart money which was entering the stock. So of course it had something to do with some news. I looked up in the Twitter, and this was very unfortunate, because I sold at 51, and from there it was just lingering at between 48 and 51 for 15-20 minutes. So I could have easily closed my position, but as you understand, my whole strategy was, I wanted to have all my shares, I wanted to sell at the levels of 950, and I had just 800, so I was very open to buy the rest 800 if I knew that it's going to sustain at the levels of 900. And then IRCTC actually broke the level of 800, and there was a huge good move, and I, of course, as per our trading strategy which was discussed on the previous night, I bought the remaining 800 shares, and I booked out at 880. I was very happy because I was able to get a 10% in just a matter of 5 minutes. But when I was looking in the hindsight, it was just that I was sitting in a loss of it went towards 100. So on an average, I was in a loss of 55 to 60 point, which corresponds to more than 1 lakh. At one point of time, my overall PL was less than at a loss of 1 lakh. But I had a strategy. For me, what was more important is, if IRCTC was able to sustain the levels of 900 on a closing basis, which I was pretty confident that it shouldn't be, because I was pretty confident some people would be booking out at the levels of between 880 and 900, which was a strong resistance as per the technicals, and that's exactly what happened. And then it started lingering from 100, it corrected, and it near about closing. So this is very towards the closing. I had just the single trade, but what I did was, I went ahead and I bought IRCTC 800 call at 112.8 or 113 levels, and the reason of this was, I was very much confident by looking at the closing that this 800 is going to be a very strong support, and on the top side we will have a very strong resistance around about at 880 levels. And actually I also tweeted about this particular logic, where I said 860 is actually a resistance and not 880. And another reason why I knew, though even I knew that this was going to be a safe trade, because I was just 20 points and there was a huge sell-off which came from the levels of 100. But the reason I did this is this was on a Friday, first of all, and second of all, the results were pending, and third of all is you should never underestimate the power of the market, and you should always hedge yourself. And this is the main reason for this video, where I'm going to show you of how this particular this particular thought process which I deploy, which can actually help you also, and maybe this will give you an idea of how I actually plan and trade on options, right? So it was a Friday. I was happy because I was already hedged. I had bought at 116, so here you can see I was just sitting at a loss of near about 30,000. This was at the very beginning of the month, and so I was pretty confident that going forward I would be at some point of time I would be able to get some advantage out of it. Then, as luck has it, eventually IRCTC started started just lingering between the levels of 860 and 880, and this was during the result. And so this was actually very important and interesting. Was my buy rate was 113 and it was trading at 103. So here you can see I was sitting at a loss of 15,000, and 900 CE I sold at 50 earlier, and this came down from 69 or 70 levels, it came down to 60 levels. So I was able to so in the previous loss of 30,000 over here, which you see, this came down to a loss of 15,000, and I was able to make an intraday profit of 15,000. So till now this whole concept was looking good. I knew that the levels of 190, especially the levels of 90, would be of interest to us, because 880 was actually a very strong resistance. So as long as it was able to hold this level, it was not a problem. And I also knew that if IRCTC starts dipping, then there would be more call writing happening on this one, and we could then take advantage of it, and at one point of time we should try to come out neutral. So after the result, what happened is there was a huge move which came in, and after that you can see that this particular level of this was trading at 50 and this was trading at 113, and I was sitting at a loss of 15,000 notional over here and 15,000, 30,000. So after the result came in, and there was a huge dip, and IRCTC actually went towards the levels of 780. When that particular thing happened, you can see that I was sitting earlier at a loss of 30,000. Now I am sitting at a profit of 30,000, which means it was able to come out. I was able to make 60,000 profit on this particular one, or at least on an intraday basis. But there was a huge depreciation on this one, and I remember it went towards the levels of 50. Now the thing is, this was all happening in the first week of November, and there was expiry was in the last week. So basically I had 2 more weeks. So what I did instead was I actually sold and took a lot of trades on this particular 900 CE, but I always made sure that at the end of the day I was able to close them as and when the target levels are met. And the main reason is, this is another point which I wanted to make sure that you guys understand, and I have seen a lot of people actually go ahead and sell options, and then they actually end up in huge losses. The first thing is, you should never sell options. You can always sell options if you want to hedge, like the way I started with my 900 CE sell option. But in general, the time decay, if you are trying to see the time decay, then definitely nothing is going to happen unless and until the mid of the month is gone, right? And as a result of which, I was actually very much not so I wanted to make sure to understand of how towards the end of the towards the mid of the month, how IRCTC is going to move, and I wanted to place myself in that front. So here you can see on an M2M basis, my previous losses of 30,000 was now coming around about 44,000 over here, and I was still okay with it, because one of the things which I knew is, at least I was confident IRCTC would be able to hold the levels of 800 at least towards the expiry. If not, then of course we would have taken much more, because here you can see it was just trading at 30, So selling 2 more options on this one would give me a 60 point plus 50, which actually makes this trade particularly neutral. And if any case I go wrong, and this I was not planning to do immediately, I was only planning to do it towards this last week of the expiry. So I was just sitting very much comfortably on 44,000, and today on 15th of on November, so the move came and IRCTC was able to break the levels of 880. So what I went forward and I bought so the positions which you saw on this 900 CE, which I had sold at levels of 51, I bought it at 46, and whatever on the 800 CE which I had bought at 113, I actually sold it at 115, and this I did at 10:14 a.m. when IRCTC was trading very near to 905 906 levels. So in this video I just wanted to give you an idea, and here you can see that on an average I made 11,000, and though it may not be a huge sum, but you have to understand that this was just forgetting all the other trades which I took on an intraday basis, playing with this particular option. So I'm not going to so it's not the intraday, but what I wanted to showcase is I had a position, I was sitting at a loss of 1 lakh, and from there I was able to, just without changing anything of this parameters, I was able to, and the reason I actually closed this trade was once IRCTC was able to move past the levels of 900 in the morning at 10:14 a.m. today. So I was pretty much confident that now at any point of time 880 would be a support, and if it ever comes towards 880, buying would come in. So if 880 comes in and if expiry happens between 880 and 900, you actually have to understand this decay of 48 will actually linger towards 20 at most. And if it so at least towards 20th of this month, so even after 5 days, this will only decay by 28 or 28 points, whereas this can decay by 30 points, right? And this is exactly how an option works, because here you can see that once IRCTC is going to go above 900 and going to stay over there, this particular option value will get more value addition, and there won't be much of a difference. And there's a second problem which you also have to understand is never have an option open towards the end of towards the mid of the month, because you never know how the time decay is going to hurt, and you never know how the price movement is going to hurt. It's only after the 20th of the month that I will have a very good idea of where IRCTC will actually sort of expire. And the third problem which you also have to remember is, if IRCTC keeps on playing around about at 900, say for example, this decay will be very small, but this will be a far out of money option, and when this actually happens, you will see there would be a difference of 3 and 4 rupees, and there you won't be getting your buyers, you won't be getting your sellers. And this is a common problem which a lot of traders have faced, and it's all about how quick you are able to close your trades, and also make sure that you get your necessary price levels. Because if IRCTC keeps on trading at 900 and 930 region, you will see, if you open the 800 CE, you will see that the buyer is at 120 and the seller is at 140. So there will be a huge difference gaps, and when this starts happening, which actually happens when IRCTC will consolidate, so that will actually prove to be a huge loss for you. And then on the top of that, you have to make sure that you have to close this position before the expiry, because these are all November expiry. And on the top of that, you also have this you also are never sure when this particular script will enter ban, and that will also hurt you. So from my perspective, I could have actually hold this particular position, and I could have made more money at the end of it. But these are few of the restrictions which you have to consider whenever you're trading options in today's world, especially the way the SEBI rules are laid out. And in this way, I am very much happy that my fund deployed. I don't know the margin, but whatever is it, at least I was able to make 11,000 profit. And the reason was pretty simple, that Here I sold at 51, I bought at 46, so I got 5 points. And from here I bought at 113, I sold at 115, I got 2 points. So I was very much happy with this trade and the way it went. And going forward, I think this is also going to help you in understanding that options is, especially when you're trading with options, you have to have these criteria in mind. And personally, I have never seen these getting discussed anywhere in Twitter or someone saying it. They always try to give you a very different perspective of how options work, and they will try to mix it match with different mathematical models. But you actually have to understand that these are some of the actual world limitations which you should be aware of. And hopefully this video is going to give you some idea of how how a normal person. And the third and most important reason was my buying price was 810 to 815, whereas right now it closed at 900, so I'm already sitting at a profit. So I really don't care about having my position to hedge, but rather what I would be more interested in, on the 18th of this month, I would be trying to see of how IRCTC moves from here, whether it's consolidating, whether there are chances of it to correct. If that happens, then I will actually try to take up the next one. Here, one of the interesting things which I wanted to showcase is, if you open the charts of both 800 CE and 900 CE and look into it from 10:14 AM, you would actually see that this 46, my buy price, from 46 it went towards the levels of 54, which was an 8 rupees move. Whereas here you can see, if you open the charts, you will see from 115 it went towards 124, which was a 9 rupees move, right? So you can see that whatever difference I had, I was just able to get just a single rupee, which is like 1600 rupees, and that only if I knew that okay, this is exactly the high which this option values are going to make. So hope this video is going to help you, and you will understand of what are the practical limitations of playing with options in today's world. And this will also give you an idea of why and how I deploy options when I am actually stuck with my demat holdings, and when I am trying to hedge my demat holdings, so that I am always able to garner some particular profit in a particular stock, even if it is not able to give me a move. So my initial, as I always keep on saying, my strategy is always I buy in cash and I pledge them, and against that I get a margin, and from that margin I actually use the options especially for hedging myself and making sure that whatever profit I have I don't lose, and also making sure that if and when as and when required, if a position is going against me, then it should I should be able to at least defend myself, so that at the end of the day I'm not losing out money. So the options are actually a black hole. No matter how much money you actually put in, it will all disappear unless and until you hedge yourself either with cash buying or with other options, just like I did over here. Thanks a lot for listening. Hopefully this video is going to give you some idea, and if you like this particular video and you like the concept, because normally this is a very at least I have not seen anyone using these concepts like this, because of course this is not efficient, but I really don't care. At the end of the day, what matters to me is how I am not doing a stupid trade where I am just selling 5 rupees 6 rupees options and just celebrating my 10 15 20 lakhs. Rather, these are just trading strategies which I just deploy and make sure whatever holdings I have, they are just always covered, so that in terms of any market crash which happens, or in case of any erratic move which comes in, I am always able to protect my losses. And definitely for me, options is the only way. I don't trade much in futures, and the reason is I always try to prefer, and I always keep on saying, always hold cash, because at the end of the day we are investors, and investment is all about cash holdings, and it's not about this particular option trades, because after the end of the expiry, if this was just I didn't have any cash holding, then it was just this is done, and there is no other way in which I would be able to reap off the benefits of IRCTC. As I say, option trading only if you are actually a seller. Always make sure that you follow these rules which I just said, and the limitations, you understand these limitations. And the third important thing which I have never heard anyone saying is, if you are in the far deep in the money option, then basically just like 800 CE, when IRCTC is trading at 920, 900 levels, you will stop getting good rates, and eventually even if you are sitting at a profit, you won't be able to close your trade. Always do remember it. So whenever you are in the money trade, just like I was in, you have to make sure that whenever the momentum is there, just like I knew that 115 was a low rate, I could have sold at 119, you can see. And but the thing is, this would have given much more profit to me. Here you can see I lost out 4 rupees, and here I would have lost out just 2.5. So I was able to gain 1.5. But the price you pay if you keep on lingering to deep in the money call options or deep in the money options is huge. And just don't fall into those traps. Hope this video is going to help you, and bye bye.